Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Valió madre el pedo.
So I think you know your mom's number when you call her. No, I have your
We're high. Good job, buddy. All right, we got him
Let's
now.
see, look, there's people.
So Roswell, New Mexico flooded. So I was looking some things up and I found something interesting. First, for reference, they got 5.78 inches in one day, which broke the record since 1901. Historical. So then I look at the map to see where the flooding is, and I notice that Roswell is on the southeast corner of New Mexico. There is a project with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and they would like 700,000 acres of land for federal control for conservation. Now, this land is actually owned by you and me. So I'm looking for this land that the government wants, and I start going through the counties because this land they want is in New Mexico and Texas. And I notice Chavez County, and that's where Roswell, New Mexico is. And I guarantee you none of those people got flood insurance. Man, there is no telling what Mother Nature's gonna do next.
Shout outs to Article, always making the heavy connections. Historical flooding. My hearts go out to all the families.
Hey, it's Glamham. So Roswell, New Mexico is having flooding. Let me show you what else New Mexico has. Burn scars from wildfires are especially prone to flooding. The increased vegetation of cloud seeding can actually contribute to wildfires. There's other ways cloud seeding can increase the risk of fire. It's publicly available information, just like in Los Angeles, where we suddenly had atmospheric rivers. I've been in Los Angeles since 1996. I have never seen anything like the rainfall that happened. And interestingly, if you go to sawpa.org, you can read all about their cloud seeding program. Alberta does cloud seeding. Again, it's publicly available information. I am not saying cloud seeding causes floods, but there is a proven unpredictability with cloud seeding. It's well documented that it can increase precipitation up to 30%. So maybe a flood would have been 30% smaller. Please do research yourself and see if you feel if there isn't a correlation between this and what we've been seeing in the news. See you in the comments. Take care.
30% is definitely a significant increase. Shout out to Glam Ham Radio. The fact that it's public information and there's even a schedule is mind-blowing. I wonder if that schedule is able to predict anything.
All right, here's a situation update. The back wall of the house is pretty sure it fell in. The car floated away. The inside of the house is a river. We're trapped on the front porch, and we have all the animals with us. There's Nikki. She has a cat right there. She has snakes in the backpack. We have both of our dogs. And then I have a cat on my back. And then that's the river. This is the front porch. And that's where we're at. We think it's receding because of that right there. We think we've hit the peak of it. Everything we own is gone.
My prayers to that family. I'm happy they're okay and their pets are safe. This is heartbreaking. My prayers go to Roswell, New Mexico. I didn't know it was like this. I haven't heard anything about it. Bro, there was a river in his house. We're talking New Mexico.
We got him now. That guy is not the truck, no. Yeah, look at that.
It's Glamham with a follow-up to yesterday's video about the Roswell floods, and now we have Poland flooding. So I'm simply going to share some facts and information. Again, I'll say right at the beginning, I am not saying cloud seeding causes flooding. But what I want to share with you is all the stuff that's happening in the huge field of weather modification that has been around since 1946. First of all, Europe is really big into cloud seeding. They're expecting a huge growth in weather engineering between now and 2032. Here's the important information. A lot of people have only just woken up to the idea of cloud seeding. Cloud seeding is old technology. It is so old. It is the musket of weather engineering. The new beans in weather engineering is nanotechnology, talking about how nanotechnology is going to be able to really control weather in a very fine-tuned manner and with much less moisture than is required for traditional cloud seeding that's been around since 1946. Instead of good old-fashioned sodium iodide, here's what we've got to look forward to floating around in our air. Titanium dioxide nanoparticles as a shell layer and sodium chloride crystal core. They are looking to sell this technology for commercial purposes, of course, because that's where the money is. And hopefully it will really be beneficial to people like farmers who need all the help they can get. But the farmers certainly need to know the research on what all that little chemistry set is going to do when it actually rains down on the crops. Not to mention the people eating the food. Not surprisingly, China's big on this too. They have a huge population. Who wouldn't be in on this? If I was the ruler of a country, I'd be looking into how to control the climate for my farming and maybe for some military defense purposes, which is exactly what is happening. Everybody's in on this, so don't think that this isn't weaponized as well. There's a list of things that NOAA recognizes as weather modification techniques that are acceptable, including lasers. Including lasers. In the UK, there's a company called Oliver's Travels, and for muchos dinero, they will pre-rain your wedding. More mainstream than you thought, right? Policy and regulation. Now, this is where it is the Wild West right now. From my research, it is really convoluted on the regulation front, right? Especially internationally. Like, is anybody questioning that China is gonna cloud seed 5.5 million square kilometers? Are their neighboring countries having a say in this, and should they have a say? So these are the ethical things that need to really be agreed upon by our little rock that's hurtling through space. So establishing international guidelines and agreements to govern the use of cloud seeding and address ethical and geopolitical concerns. So that to me is some sound advice, and hopefully the powers that be will go in the right direction for everyone being impacted by these horrific weather situations that have been going on. I hope everyone is safe, and I hope this information has been useful. I've presented this factual information to help you make your own mind up and see where you stand and what role you're going to play in the development of the future of planet Earth when it comes to the weather. I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
Nanotechnology, weather, sounds like a bad mix. Shout outs to Glam Ham Radio. So much factual information right there. You're able to do your own research and see the sources. Very informative.
Look right here. Dang, does that look familiar? What is it, Gravity Falls? Uh-oh. Are the pyramids some sort of long-lost high technology? Yeah, they actually are, though, and I'm not even remotely making that up. Let me go ahead and cite my source up front. Electromagnetic properties of pyramids from positions of photonics. I can tell you with solid confidence that the layout of these pyramids is no accident. We know this by now, don't we? Why would they go through all that trouble to line these up like the stars? Is there a reason? Yeah, they were just ignorant. What? Poor stupid fellas didn't know what the stars were, so they worshipped them. Arranging atoms into pyramid shapes can potentially create unique electromagnetic field patterns due to the way the pyramid geometry interacts with and focuses electromagnetic radiation, effectively concentrating energy towards the apex of the pyramid, which could have applications in fields like nanotechnology and quantum computing. The pyramid shape. Key points about pyramid-shaped atomic arrangements and electromagnetic fields. The pyramid shape acts as a natural antenna for electromagnetic waves, causing them to converge and intensify at the apex, creating a localized high-energy region. Which is why, being built in the shape of a pyramid, these buildings right here suck ions out of the ionosphere, leaving plasma in their wake. That space has got to be filled with something. Self-organizing plasmoids is what replaces the ions when the pyramids do this? What are you guys talking about in 2024? Self-organizing toroidal plasmoids. It's getting weird now, fellas, ain't it? A new life form, potentially, that lives in the sky. Okay. Consequently, they have had to admit openly to the ether that Tesla kept going on about sucking electricity out of the air. Ethereal. It's there. And a long time ago, somebody knew how to use it. I am not denying water pumps. Oh, they were just utilitarian. They were using water pumps. Do you know what pumping water would add to this equation? I've gone through great lengths to tell you about what metabolisms are and how buildings can become bodies if they have metabolisms, artificial bodies. Like in Jerusalem, you have the house of God, God's house that they built for him to dwell in on the earth, not knowing he was going to manifest in the flesh and be made in the likeness of men, and that would be his temple. He tried to tell him, though. He let him find out. Were these buildings burial chambers for pharaohs? No. But they were surely trying to use them to live forever. Look how long the building has lasted. See? Get it? Look, transhumanism is like a major focus of billionaires in technology. They want to figure out some way that they can live forever on the earth. The big idea is to transfer their consciousness to a computer, but they're also working on ways to just make the brain live forever in the machine. I'm not making that up, man. That is a major focus of scientific study and innovation right now. Starts with like Neuralink. The big fear here is that if we don't connect ourselves to the artificial intelligence immediately, they will be our gods and eradicate us off the face of the earth. And those aren't my words. They're the people that are making these things and work on this. That's what they say. Oh, we're going to go ahead and do it anyway, but like we got to make sure we merge with it immediately, because when it realizes that we are far inferior, how could we ever be far inferior to something that we made with our own hands? It's because the souls that are going to inhabit these bodies, in the same way that God can dwell in his house on the earth, what about the souls of angels that get thrown down to the earth from heaven here in the future? Anyway, we're talking about the pyramids. Back to that. Look right here. Dang, does that look familiar? What is it? Gravity falls? Uh-oh. This is the distribution of field intensity for the pyramid in the receiving antenna mode. You can pause and read all that. I'm not gonna. From physics.org, study reveals the Great Pyramid of Giza can focus electromagnetic energy. Wouldn't you know? Propagation of electromagnetic waves inside the pyramids of Chepos at different lengths of radio waves. Where do you think they got the idea to arrange atoms into the shape of pyramids? To create the electromagnetic fields. To use in the nanophotonics, the quantum computing, and sensors. When atoms are arranged in a pyramid structure, their electromagnetic fields interact with each other in a specific way, leading to a collective response to incoming radiation. Which is why I say so confidently, these pyramids are arranged in this specific pattern for a very specific reason. This was no guess or accident. This does something real even today when it's no longer in use. No pumps pumping water anywhere. These buildings are still alive, doing real stuff. Self-organizing toroidal plasmoids in the upper ionosphere, I told you. Imagine if they got them up and run them, turned them back on. What could they do? What were they for? I can't tell you. I know that the dudes that came later were trying to use them to live forever, but those are the dudes that came later, who didn't know what they were for. These are houses or bodies for gods from the heavens. Is that not the understanding that they've proclaimed with their own mouths from antiquity? As a matter of fact, it actually is. Houses for gods, bodies for them to dwell in. Bodies need metabolisms. Do these bodies have metabolisms? They most certainly did at some point. Man-made? Okay. Man-made. Okay. What does he metabolize? Coal, mostly. They got to plug him in to charge him up. He doesn't have a full... It's not... This is primitive. It's not ready yet. Give this 10 years, you won't even be able to tell it's a robot. You ever seen Blade Runner? Replicants? That's what this is headed towards. Human brain organoids in the head there to process all the data at 1/100th of the cost of electricity is plugging it in and using coal to do it. And when you've got the energy consumption down to 100th of what it is currently, why, you could probably put a metabolism in that belly right there, and they will. The Japanese are already growing these things, human skin suits. Human skin suits, you know. Just wait, not very long either. The movies in our popular culture were all blatant foreshadowing. You thought they were making all that up. You thought. They weren't. Here it is. Now, what I don't want to do, I don't want to do something like speculate, where I say, could it be that the demons, let me clarify who the demons are. Remember I said that in the future, angels are going to get thrown down from heaven? Well, in the days of Noah, angels quit heaven to come to earth, to mate with women, to be the gods, the Anunnaki. They had offspring, filled the world with their offspring. Unclean spirits, spirits that are born on earth and not from heaven. God said no to that, flooded the earth, killed all their offspring in the flood, bound the souls of those angels who abandoned their first estate, abandoned their heavenly bodies to come down and have bodies on earth. He bound their souls and threw them in hell. All the humans who died in the flood, their souls went to hell and they're not strong enough to get out. But the unclean spirits are neither bound in hell, neither are they humans. They are unclean spirits born on the earth. And so they climb all the way out, and who knows what kind of shenanigans they can even get into after that. I know that they're real concerned with bodies all throughout the New Testament and the Bible. Remember that scene where Jesus cast legion out of that man, and they beg him not to send them back to the abyss, the abyssal zones being cracks that lead all the way into hell. Nah, he let them go into those pigs instead. And we ain't even talking about angels that were born in heaven that are going to get thrown to the earth in the future. for that robot apocalypse that's been foreshadowed in all our imaginations. The Matrix? The Singularity? The Mark of the Beast? Is it Neuralink? Not yet. Primitive. It's all primitive yet. Experimenting, working it out, getting it ready, finding out. I've gone to great lengths to prove to you that there is one story repeating in history over and over and over in every place. Yes, sometimes it overlaps here and there between places, as it would ripples in a pond. When people collectively worship, well, that's definitely a transfer of energy, without a doubt. Waves and vibes and frequencies, man. It has to be so. By everything we already know, even in our ignorance. God says a whole lot about it, actually. Worship. He gave real specific instructions for how this all had to go down here. Because this is higher than the highest technology on Earth. And even then, they failed. But God didn't. He got it done himself. Don't worry. That's why Jesus specifically is the door. You have to enter through him. There's no other way. He had to do it himself. But that does not mean that they're not going to try this again. They are. And this machine right here requires blood sacrifice. In the last age, that was animals. In this age, well, the Gentiles are swine, aren't they? The war on the saints, the tribulation, great and terrible sacrifice and oblation of swine's flesh. Anyway, the point of this video is that the pyramids are technology nigh into quantum computing on a much grander scale. Worldwide, using the ether. And maybe this explains the aliens being demons too. Using this technology that they know about because this was from their time specifically. To make themselves little bodies in the sky. Aliens? UFOs? Self-organizing plasmoids. Demons. Maybe.
Self-organizing plasmoids. Never heard of it in my life. Shout outs to Dead Hidden. Very interesting. It's crazy hearing Neuralink and these robots being considered primitive to what it actually can be in 10 years from now. I definitely feel them pyramids are some sort of advanced technology. Yeah, I totally can see it harnessing the energy of the atmosphere above it, the ionosphere.
Did you hear about the deleted earthquake off the coast of California? Yes, volcano discovery had it at 6.9 at a depth of 750 kilometers. 750 kilometers? Yes, it's called a deep focus earthquake. They're often associated with subduction zones, where one tectonic plate is forced under another, except the coordinates don't place it on a subduction zone, so a deep focus quake would be unusual. Could be simply a malfunction of equipment. No need to be dramatic. Noted. Let's look at an actual earthquake today. Here's what the seismic reading looked like. The vertical line is the earthquake, and the seismic activity for this location comes after. I did find it interesting that if we look at the reading from Tucson, Arizona, 1,523 miles from the supposed epicenter, there does seem to be a little anomaly. ETs tunneling to Guanajuato. Possibly. What? There is some pretty strange stuff in Guanajuato, and I've had some military people write and say they've seen UFOs in the area. So you think it is ETs tunneling to Guanajuato? No, but the government did include an oceanographer in their UFO task force. Task force? Its official name is AERO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, created by the Department of Defense in 2022. So there are UFOs. Remember the Tic Tac video, the UFO seen by the US Navy off the coast of San Diego? Yes, the Tic Tac. Speed beyond conventional aircraft. Yes, and no visible means of propulsion. Gravitational manipulation, electromagnetic propulsion. Like the magnetic fluxish radar anomaly in Guanajuato, you know, the one that took off. How did the Tic Tac fly like that? It could have been operating on principles of physics we don't yet understand. What's this got to do with the Fed's UFO squad? Well, you know how the Department of Defense changed the name UFO to UAP? Yes, unidentified flying object to unidentified aerial phenomena. Well, in December 2022, they changed UAP to mean unidentified anomalous phenomena. Anomalous phenomena. To include things that weren't aerial. Underwater, deep in the ocean. What if the phantom quake was deep ocean mining or something. 750 kilometers is way too deep for human mining. So the ETs are tunneling up. Or it's weather tech. Well, incredibly, a discovery was made that earthquakes give a warning days before they go off, via the ionosphere. Nature. Electrons in the ionosphere are what us radio operators care about. They reflect our long-distance HF radio waves, so when solar activity increases and blasts more electrons free to roam the ionosphere, we can make better contacts. Well, the total electron content of the ionosphere shows changes days before an earthquake. Well, is it, Harp? Why would you think the phantom quake has anything to do with the weather? Because when I looked up the coordinates, it just happens to be exactly in the path of Hurricane Christy. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Please don't do that. We've talked about this. No, it's distracting. I don't want you to do that. You spoil the video.
Whoa. Shout outs to Glam Ham Radio. She's amazing when it comes to this content. I did not know any of that. What I find very interesting is the way earthquakes are predicted, the change in the ionosphere. It just brought me back to them pyramids, especially talking about these UAPs. So was the earthquake in the ocean? Or was it a...
Have you eaten McDonald's in the last week? So this is extremely freaking odd and bizarre. Out of nowhere, seemingly, McDonald's is now having an E. coli outbreak. Out of nowhere! They're saying that 49 people are sick, 1 have passed away, in 10 different states. So if you or your family have eaten McDonald's in the last few days, you might want to let them know. They're saying it might be in the quarter pounder meat, but is the quarter pounder meat really any different from the source of the regular meat? And all of the news seems to be collectively attacking this topic at the same exact time. What do y'all think about this? Let me know in the comments. I wonder if this could be a sign of something. And there seems to be a lot of really weird coincidences going on, as Carrie Lake's whole office is on straight up lockdown because there was a suspicious substance. By the way, we need to talk about this later, because gold and silver are through the roof. It seems the dollar is collapsing and the debt is up. And it's not just that, the unrealized losses are worse than 2008.
Dang, I had McDonald's last night. Shout out to Inspired by the King. I didn't have a quarter pounder though. I feel alright. How convenient the timing on this one is.
Imagine 1964 cartoon right in our face.
Hey, it's Glamham. At the bottom are all the mining locations around North Carolina. At the top is a very special plane I've done a couple of videos about. NASA's P-3 Orion, extremely modified for weather experiments and research. And people didn't believe it when I said this was available to rent. But according to their own website, there's a user fee of $3,500 an hour, and to rent it, you submit a flight request. This plane, by the way, is part of NASA's EDGE mission. Lots of fun, science-y, spacey stuff. And this plane was supposed to be flying on September 9th for the Edge mission. We'll get back to that. Also, why are there so many jobs listed in areas that don't even exist? Like this new listing from Vanguard. So why do I care about all this? Because this plane wasn't a hurricane hunter. You see, this plane was flying here on September 9th, 2024, 2 weeks before Hurricane Helene had even been announced. 2 weeks before, when it's normally in Greenland. Why was it here? And don't you think the people impacted by Hurricane Helene deserve to know? I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
What is going on with these helicopters and spraying these things out of their backs as of late, y'all? I showed y'all this was happening in Kissimmee, Florida, and then in Mexico. And now this is happening over here up in the mountains. This couple was out fishing and noticed that this helicopter was going back and forth spraying this substance in the water, y'all. It can't be fish food, because doesn't the fish take care of themselves? What y'all think that is, y'all? Look at that.
I don't know what they're doing.
Looks like he's standing out of the helicopter. So they don't even know what they're doing either. But they're going back and forth, back and forth. Does anybody know what's going on over here? Should they be doing that? What kind of chemical is that? Is it hazardous or poisonous? These are questions that, you know, they probably have the answers to, and they're not even getting it from them. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they see the people there on the waters, but they're still doing this. But yeah, that red helicopter, does anybody know? Let us know down in the comments below, y'all. Crazy times that we live in. Let's get this shift. Peace out.
Shout out to Conscious Juice. Hopefully they were spraying for blue-green algae. I've just never seen it done before. Not this way with a helicopter, at least.
The best part about being famous, you know, I guess when people like you, it just gives you good self-esteem when people appreciate your music. You know, oh, well, you hear that? That means things are starting. Huh?
Why won't get the Million Bear March?
I was.
Are you worried? Why not?
Okay.
Why does it never start like the first black and married actress?
Huh?
You are now the number one man. You know that.
Oh, well, you know, I'm just working hard. I'm just working hard.
But you've had an amazing summer. You are the biggest star right now. What does that feel like?
Oh, well, you know, the Men in Black was huge, and people really enjoyed it, and I had the music with it. You know, it just feels good to have everything come together like that.
What are some of the things that you heard behind the scenes that were going on before this indictment actually dropped?
Well, I know he poisoned Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx reported him to the FBI because of it. I know that's a fact.
So, wait, you're saying that Diddy poisoned Jamie Foxx and that's how Jamie Foxx got sick?
Jamie Foxx reported this man to the FBI because of this. Facts.
Wow. Okay, and how did you hear about this? If you can tell me, or if you can't, that's all good. But you know what I'm saying, like, well, you know, people are they're gonna want to know, you know what I'm saying, how this happened, or you know what I'm saying, what's the backstory to this?
Well, by the time this drop, this is gonna be in the stratosphere. It's gonna be in the ether by the time this drop. You can probably look it up right now. But by the time this interview drop, this is going to be out in the ether for sure. These people poison people, bro. I've been poisoned 3 times. Why am I testing positive for cyanide? You feel me? Why am I I had pneumonia 3 times. So people like, man, why he breathe like that? Because I only got 1 lung. And then I had a car crash. I got 1 nostril permanently blocked. And I done had pneumonia 3 times. Somebody been trying to poison me. My brother got poisoned with me. The little lady I was bodyguarding, she got poisoned. Like, somebody is carrying on these antics. These is facts.
Is there any idea why Diddy would want to poison Jamie Foxx?
You get called to testify. If you on camera and some of this footage, and you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself, it's ways in this industry people go about doing things. Just know I tested positive for cyanide 3 times after drinking some bottles in the club. Once you get hit with the cyanide, it turns into pneumonia. I had it 3 times. So, fact.
So I just want to make sure we're talking about when, what was it, a year or 2 ago or so, when Jamie Foxx got real sick and everybody said he had a stroke.
Yes.
We're talking about that, or we're talking about something different?
I'm talking about that.
Okay. Now, and you said that you've been, victim of having your, liquor poisoned. Like, what do you think that you did that made them want to poison you?
Bro, I didn't. If you ask anybody about me, they're gonna tell you I'm known for blowing the spot up. So, like, I've had altercations with people around him for doing strange things to people that I'm close with, and they do little sneaky stuff like that. You feel me? So, I was kind of careful about some of the things I said, but, now that I know that certain people off the street, the money is dried up, so now it's time to play ball.
The money is dried up and it's time to play ball. Shout outs to big homie CC, yo. I'm starting to hear a lot of this.
This man sparked chaos on the streets of Ohio by dressing as Ghostface from the Scream horror franchise while brandishing a knife. In an attempt to flee, he bolted across the highway, but officers would soon make him regret his choices.
Drop it! Drop it now! Drop it now! Get on the ground! You understand? Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Now!
You got any help? I can help you.
Nope, we're good, bud. The man, identified as 35-year-old Jacob Weisgarber, was charged with felony counts of aggravated menacing and resisting arrest, and misdemeanor charges of inducing panic and obstructing official business.
Yeah, that's how Scream would actually be in IRL. In real life. What was bro's goal right there?
Hey, it's Glamham. Here's some more stuff that'll blow your mind, and what I tell you at the end will blow it even more. Let's take a look.
You could fire a laser at the sky and make it rain. Oh, that sounds more interesting. Dave Malkoff explains.
Just another stormy, wet afternoon in Central Florida. But what if you could pick up all this rain and move it where it's needed? Texas or California. What if a laser could start the rain?
So you can almost use it to set it off.
Matt Mills got into lasers as a kid.
It's just innately cool.
Now he's part of a team of scientists and military backers on the cutting edge of a new technology, making lasers powerful enough to reach up here into the sky where a thunderstorm is just about to start. In the near future, a push-button storm starter could be a real thing.
Just imagining this situation. If there was a rain cloud that was going to pass over an area of drought and not rain, you could, theoretically induce the rain and get the rain where it's needed.
Just imagine.
A storm starter isn't the laser beam itself, but rather a popping energy that comes off of much higher power beams than this one. The problem is those pops have always had trouble getting into the sky. Now Matt has discovered a way to get the laser to pop all the way in the clouds. In theory, that's what starts a storm.
The particles in the air are rubbing together, forming static electricity, and the conditions are now right, and they just need to be triggered now. Does this concern you that you may be messing with Mother Nature and doing something that you don't completely understand up here in the cloud?
I mean, I suppose that's always a danger, but we're not even near to the case where it could be dangerous yet, so not too much.
It's almost like an on-off switch for a thunderstorm.
It's almost like an on-off switch for a thunderstorm. Well, what if I told you that aired 10 years ago? And what if I told you the funding's not coming from the National Weather Service? It's coming from the Department of Defense. Maybe that tells you how that technology could be used. I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right, run these numbers up. Thanks again. Until next time.